to. All right, let's give this thing a call. Give her ETA. All right, we are on our way to a town called Social Circle. Shout out to Social Circle, Georgia. It's just south of Monroe, right off Interstate 20. It's gonna be a good little ride, 61 miles, and I hope you enjoy the ride. We're going from South Georgia to East Georgia. All right, guys. You guys are going with
current voluntary recall farms. Well, the acting FDA commissioner is Kyle Diamantes, and he's with us now. And sir, thank you for your time. I'm a little confused. I think some folks at home might be as well. Where are you right now, as of today, in your investigation as to the source of this outbreak?
Yeah, Bill, thanks for having me on. Really appreciate the opportunity today. Cyclospora is a seasonal hazard here in the United States. Each year, FDA, CDC, and our state partners investigate several clusters of Cyclospora. In 2023, we investigated 4,500 cases. In 2024, 3,500 cases. Right now, we're investigating several clusters, including a large cluster centered in the Great Lakes region, Michigan and Ohio and Indiana, but with some cases in Kentucky and West Virginia as well. Whenever the federal government is investigating a foodborne outbreak investigation, there's really three critical data sources that we use. One is epidemiological evidence, the second is traceback analysis, and the third is laboratory results. All three of those are helpful, Bill, but they're not necessary to have a high level of confidence as to the source of contamination. And let me just explain generally how this process works. So it starts obviously with a consumer eating contaminated produce, in this case we believe shredded lettuce, and getting sick. Those symptoms for Cyclospora can take 7 to 10 days, even more, to manifest. Once someone becomes sick, they will go to the doctor. They will test positive for cyclosporiasis. That doctor would then report it to the state. The state health department would then report it to CDC. CDC would then engage in epidemiology, where them, along with state partners, will make calls to consumers. They will investigate the who, what, when, where, why of what they consumed and when. And then once CDC investigates a suspect vehicle, in this case, shredded lettuce served at Taco Bell, it'll transfer over to FDA, and we'll conduct what's called traceback analysis. And what that means is that we'll look at the entire supply chain. And when you think of a company like Taco Bell that has very strong supply chain logistics and documentation, we're able to trace this all the way back to a single farm or set of farms in a single growing region.
And sometimes it can take a while, like 10 days, to know whether or not you have it. Today, do you think it's Taylor Farms? Is that the source, yes or no?
Yeah, so we still believe that the epidemiology and traceback data strongly supports a finding that Taylor Farms de Mexico from the Central Mexico region is the responsible culprit with respect to the outbreak investigation for the large cluster.
Let me just jump in there. Their headquarters is in California. They've got major hubs in Texas and in Chicago, and you mentioned the Midwest right now getting hit hard by this. They've got farms in Canada, and they've got farms in Mexico. But on Sunday, this is what the company said. They said, today, the FDA apologized to us. We're informed that FDA made a mistake, and this was a false positive. To be clear, at this moment, FDA has not identified a single positive product test result for Cyclospora. And then the FDA came out and said, we did not apologize. So I see the fingers going both ways, and just clear that up, please.
Yeah, so the false positive, it's unrelated to the product being recalled. So this product being recalled, right, was distributed in the U.S. Several weeks ago, in fact, up to 3 weeks ago. The recall that Taylor Farms voluntarily did last Friday, they instituted a voluntary recall that impacted products distributed to 27 different states. The product that was subject to the false positive was new product coming into the southern border from Mexico. It had not yet entered the U.S. It was not part of the product that Taylor Farms already recalled. So we did have a false positive on that. You know, we felt that we should have notified the company immediately when we had the positive result at the border. Unfortunately or fortunately, that turned out to be a false positive, and of course,
so
we notified Taylor Farms.
What takes you? If that's the what takes you back to Taylor Farms?
So this is based, again, on the epidemiology and the traceback data collected by CDC in Michigan over the course of 6 weeks or more. Again, Bill, Taco Bell, based on that strong supply chain management, epidemiology, and traceback, removed product from their stores from Taylor Farms to Mexico last Thursday. And last Friday, Taylor Farms themselves instituted a voluntary recall of that very product.
Gotcha. Let me just say, you know, I don't know where this ends up, but just so like viewers who are watching and eat lettuce, here we go. Discard the outer layers, rinse it thoroughly, be cautious with pre-washed or pre-cut produce, avoid cross-contamination, and make sure you prioritize cooking. As of July 1-6, you had 102 reported cases indicated they had been hospitalized from the state of Michigan, one of the hardest hit areas that you had mentioned as well. Kyle Diamantes, thank you, the acting FDA commissioner. It's a lot to get through. Thanks for trying.
Thanks, Bill.
Trying.
Thanks, Bill.
You bet. Thank you for your time. Thanks.
Iran playing with fire as President Trump weighs a major escalation against the regime. The steps he's considering, that's coming up. It's coming up.
They say tennis is great for remembering you can customize and save hundreds on car insurance with Liberty Mutual.
Do they, Dad?
My bad!
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, liberty, liberty.
Bus action plan. It includes rapid transit bus lanes, more cameras to ticket vehicles blocking those lanes, and better bus stops.
Wait a second, I thought buses in New York were supposed to be free, but that doesn't sound like the plan at all. Instead, the mayor has a new scheme to spend tens of millions renovating bus stations and installing traffic lights while cutting bus service to make it faster. But they won't be free buses, oh no, because these are going to be funded with an army of AI cameras to find drivers with the help of Big Brother. And while the improvements from all this are years away in the future, those taxation cameras are here right now.
Blink and you might miss them. On the windshields of hundreds of MTA buses, mounted cameras are now searching for vehicles blocking the bus lane. The cameras are powered by artificial intelligence, but driver George Hahn says the AI system isn't smart enough.
Mayor Mamdani, Governor Hochul, and MTA Chair Janno Lieber announcing a plan to improve bus service. They identified 50 corridors for improvements, including 5 rapid transit routes that will save 6 minutes.
Hahn says last month he got 3 violations on the same day for blocking bus lanes, but in each case, the videos captured by the bus cameras themselves show he was legally parked.
If you make the bus 3 minutes faster and you got to walk 5 minutes more to the bus, your trip takes longer.
Alan Rosen is a former transit bus planner. He wants to see better management of the routes.
Change the routes to fill service gaps. They need to expand service rather than the cuts they're proposing in the redesign.
My commitment is to make buses fast and free. Today, we stand together on how we deliver the fast.
So oddly, all this new stuff is going to cost $800 million, but that's exactly what the city loses every year to people who steal from the bus by riding it for free, which reveals that these communists, they have the math for their free buses, which would be a disaster, but they're wasting so much money they can't even deliver on that. And the reason for that is, you see, the communists, they love big promises like free food and free buses and free apartments, but they love grand visual accomplishments even more, which is why they need to renovate bus stations for just shy of $1 billion, which will give them something shiny to point at, which proves in their minds that they've accomplished something. But this plan's got a bunch of problems. You see, it's going to eliminate the bus stations they decide not to renovate, and it's going to do this while punishing every car on the road with ticketing cameras, just so criminals and thugs can keep stealing from the city, revealing that the thought of using the money generated by our failing public transit networks to fix those failing public transit networks isn't on the table. Which means the mayor, in a way, kept his promise. If you're a criminal, you're going to get to ride the bus for free. You always have. But if you're the law-abiding, nope. But it gets even worse, because this is happening 2 years after the city rolled out another set of AI cameras to tax you for driving on the road. Oh, yes. And now we've got the AI cameras on the buses to give you tickets if you're on the wrong part of the road you just paid to drive on. But that's not all, because while they're eliminating the bus stations they don't plan to renovate, some people's commutes are going to get longer, because the only way the buses get faster is if they make less stops. Yet this time savings gimmick is meant to justify the spending of almost $1 billion. But that brings us to the real reason, this new bus plan for fast buses, which may be free later at some point when we don't know. This is not a solution. In fact, it's a handout to criminals at all levels, not just the criminals on the bus, but those who've been well connected enough to get to renovate them and fix them up. None of this nonsense. And this showboating addresses the reasons people wanted buses to be free in the first place. First of all, they're dangerous and unreliable. Sometimes you wait forever just to get on a bus that never shows up, and when it does, who's on it? The wrong people who want to commit crime. But this is all an excuse to turn every single bus on the road into a money-generating cash register that roams the streets looking for someone to punish, which isn't going to speed up traffic. After all, the cameras we already have haven't done that. And the most ironic thing about all this is, if you want to ride the bus today and you want to pay for it, it actually costs more than it did before the mayor got into office.
This is interesting. Ever since Mondami became the mayor, MTA cops have been hammering fare evaders. Yep. So this is what's been happening. I mean, I've been seeing this. MTA cops are looking for fare evaders, but I thought the buses were supposed to be for free.
Oh, I guess not. I guess they're not.
I don't think buses are going to be free anytime soon.
Dude, I think the city
is trying to make as much money right now on fare evaders. Right. So it is what it is.
And they're doing it while blaming all of this on mayors that showed up before. Oh, it's not Mamdani's fault they're ticketing people. It's not his fault he told the few police that haven't quit the force yet that they need to go over to the buses and start writing people tickets, which is the opposite of free. But the truth is, this proves the socialism we already have has already run out of everyone's money, so they need more of it fast. Which explains why we've got this armada of cameras that are coming to even more buses. Oh yeah, these things are gonna roam the streets, dishing out fines. If you're on the street, these things are looking for you, which means this is communism at its finest. Redistribution from those who have something to those who are supposed to get everything for free. And our leaders aren't exactly hiding it. Watch.
By 2030, B41 bus riders will see these bus boarding islands along the length of Flatbush Avenue, the first of 5 rapid bus transit routes where buses are physically separated from cars and just one part of the bus action plan. It aims to improve speeds by 20%, improve the overall customer experience, increase bus lane enforcement, and expand access to transit.
In New York City, time is money. And we are going to give New Yorkers some of that time back. 6 minutes.
Unless those New Yorkers happen to be driving a car. You see, this belief that time is money and it's very important and we need to give it back to you during an affordability crisis so you can get to work or go about your day or do whatever, that all flies out the window if you want to take matters into your own hands with a car. You see, they don't want you to have personal transportation. They do not like that. The communists want everybody riding the bus, which is why if you're in a car, things have just gotten progressively worse for you over the years. They've deleted roads, they've made them smaller, they've put these ludicrous bike lanes all over the place, they've created traffic congestion, and now they're taxing everybody for being in a car, and now they want you to get on a bus, which could be dangerous, which may never even show up, and they're telling you you're going to get 6 minutes back. But where did they get this 6 minutes number? Is it even a real number? Is it something people will actually experience, or is this part of the scam? Well, this article that talks about the AI cameras has something to say about that, and it says the 6 minute promise falls apart the moment you look at how far most people ride the bus. They're saying that bus lanes will save you up to 6 minutes. That means if you travel the entire bus route, which is 8 miles, which nobody does, you save 6 minutes. The average trip is 2.3 miles, so most people aren't going to save any time at all, especially if the bus is delayed, if it doesn't show up, if they ran out of money and they have to run less buses, if the person doesn't come to work who's supposed to drive the bus. I mean, all of these things impact the service that you're going to get. And the crazy thing is, this savings only happens because they're eliminating the number of stops the bus actually makes. So if the bus stops less frequently, yeah, it'll get a few minutes back, but what about the people who took those stops?
And automated cameras that ticket drivers in bus lanes.
If you make the buses 3 minutes faster and you got to walk 5 minutes more to the bus, your trip takes longer.
Alan Rosen is a former transit bus planner. He wants to see better management of the routes.
Change the routes to fill service gaps. They need to expand service rather than the cuts they're proposing in the redesign.
Oh, cuts!
Other promises: install 300 new bus shelters by...
New bus shelters, cuts, service disruptions. None of this is about improving people's lives at all. If the bus stops less frequently and you are elderly or challenged in a mobility sense, you getting on the bus, that could take a lot longer. That could make your life much harder, much less affordable. But that's not what this is about at all. This is about statistics and accomplishments that the communists can point to and say, see, I got everyone else's money and I spent it on that thing right there.
Of the least when it comes to our policy conversations.
Back along Northern Boulevard, Mary has time to talk. We checked the app and the bus was 10 minutes and 30 minutes away.
Wow.
I've been running this bus for over 3-4 years now, and it's always been an issue. They're very delayed.
Describe how long you usually wait.
Well, sometimes it's 15.
City Hall says the new initiative, with cooperation from the MTA and state, creates 50 priority corridors in...
Right, so because the buses are poorly run, people are waiting half an hour in some cases for the next bus if they miss a bus. People are sitting at these stations all day, and we're supposed to think that the same people who are running the buses and are mismanaging them are going to get a boatload of other people's money, redo all the congestion nightmares on the roads while they build these bus corridors, and that things are going to magically improve. I mean, that is the dumbest thing you could possibly think, that because the same people that run the buses also run the subway. And they keep promising us with the subway every year, oh, we're going to get service, it's going to be faster, we're going to do signal improvements, we're going to speed things up, we're going to modernize. That never happens. Every single promise that is made with public transit as the reason for that promise, it's all a scam. It's all a grift. It never works. And it's the commuters that pay the price. Increased enforcement, people stealing to get on these buses, stealing to get on the subway, committing crime while they're down there, making it dangerous for everybody. If they would just jail the fare evaders, they wouldn't have to have an army of police out in front of these buses, ticketing people, checking IDs, slowing everything down. That'll get you back 6 minutes. Put the criminals in jail. Then we don't have to do anything. And deep down, every single rider in this city knows exactly what's going to happen next.
New Yorkers, some of that time back. 6 minutes, to be precise.
There will be 50 bus priority corridors, more signals that allow buses to jump ahead of other traffic, and more automated camera and human enforcement to keep bus lanes clear. Riders waiting for a very slow B41 were hopeful the plan can deliver.
I hope so. I'm someone that's like, we'll have to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, because the same people are still going to drive the buses are still going to run the buses, are still going to manage the routes. The city that runs the subways and the buses, they get $21 billion a year to do it, and it's already this bad. What are they going to do with a little extra money from some AI ticketing cameras? The amount that they're going to get for these new projects is inconsequential, but they want to redesign everything so that they can, again, point at it and say, look, I did that. That's me. I did that right there. I've delivered. I made a promise. I kept it, even though nothing changed. All of it is being wasted, which shows that fraud, it's not just the people that are stealing from the bus and the subway. It's the people in the government that are lying about what they're actually going to accomplish, where they're not going to accomplish anything. But they're telling us this time, it's different. Here's why.
The plan sets clear timeframes to accomplish goals not just on speed, but installing 300 bus shelters and universal bus stop seating by 2035. The MTA already planned to order 2,500 new buses.
We're not going to get off the bus. You're going to want to go the next stop. It's going to be so great.
Officials say, yes, there have been other plans, but this one is different.
Accountability. We're putting out a report today that has specific goals and...
So this is the chairman of the MTA, and he's been running this agency for several years, and now there's going to be accountability. An agency that gets $21 billion a year is now finally going to be accountable for where this money gets spent, because we didn't have that in the past, which is how we got here, but going forward, everything's going to be just fine. I mean, are we really supposed to believe this? The system, its feature is that it wastes everyone's money. Its feature is that it is a perpetual excuse for why more of everyone's money needs to be taken away from them. That's how it's been for decades. There's no plan to change any of that. And every single year, the politicians and the bureaucrats, they get out there and they pump their chests about how they're delivering for the people, yet nothing changes. People are waiting at the bus. And now the communists are going to come in and hold themselves accountable. Think about that for a second. They're going to take everyone's money, and they've got their own time frame for how they promise they're going to spend it, and they're going to hold themselves accountable for that. Do you believe that? Communist accountability, first time in world history here, folks.
How are we going to address the choke points on a daily basis that develop? That level of accountability and responsiveness is not always observed in government.
If the plan actually comes with resources and the targets to deliver on it. DOT has a historic budget to do bus improvements. Over $900 million of capital and expense funding over the next 5 years.
But there are many who wonder, what about the free buses?
Oh, yeah, the free buses. But you see, before we get to that, understand that everything you just heard is what they say about public transit in New York every single year. We've got a historic budget. It's even bigger than last year. We're going to accomplish so much more. A bright future of amazing world-class public transit is just around the corner for everybody who lives in New York, except it's not. Except everybody knows that's a lie. Except everybody knows the budget grows every single year and things down to the subway or on the bus just get worse. But that's why people want the buses to be free. You see, they've created a system that's so bad, people are begging for communism to fix it because they don't see any reason to pay for it. The only thing they don't understand is that once these buses are free, there's not going to be any bus, because the money's going to run out for the free buses because they have to steal it from people. And once it's gone, there's not going to be any money to put a driver on that bus, to repair that bus, to buy the new bus when the old bus breaks down. And then, these buses are all electric. That's what we find out now. They're going to buy 2,500 electric buses. Good luck turning your AC on in the summer in New York if they got 2,500 electric buses draining the power grid.
Who wonder, what about the free buses? The mayor says it will come.
I've been very clear with the voters that my commitment is to make buses fast and free. Today, we stand together on how we deliver the fast.
Of course, the drive.
Oh, so we're going to make them fast today, and everyone's going to pay more money for them to be fast today, and we'll get around to making them free. We're committed to that lofty expectation, that campaign promise, but in order to make them free, we got to make them fast. In order to make them fast, we need more of everyone else's money. Don't you see how convenient this is? Meanwhile, nobody wants to tackle the real reason bus service in New York is such a disaster. They've destroyed the roads in this city. They've created so much traffic congestion by taking roads that used to have 5 lanes and knocking them down to 2 lanes, plus a bus lane, plus a bike lane, plus parking, plus a green space. The traffic can't even get down the street. So if you're going to destroy the infrastructure that the bus drives on, don't be shocked when it slows down and when it stops working and when it becomes repulsive and useless and totally unpredictable. You know, if you've got skinny little roads, even a minor traffic jam miles away from where the bus stop is, that could slow down everyone's commute for the entire morning. It's like people redesigned everything because what their goal was a few years ago, if you remember, was to get the taxation cameras for the cars, this congestion pricing. They wanted that so bad. So what did they have to do? They needed statistics that proved that they needed AI cameras to tax every single car on the road. So they redesigned all the roads, they created massive traffic congestion, and they had their statistics. And they rolled out their cameras. And they put them in place, and it survived the Trump administration's threats to shut it all down. And there it is. And they said that those cameras were going to fix public transit in New York. They said that once those cameras were up and every car on the road got taxed, we were going to have amazing public transit. We were going to have buses that were great, a subway that was great, and those were all the promises everybody in New York just heard related to public transit. But where are they? Why is no one out there bragging about the congestion pricing? You know why? Because it's delivering a whole bunch of money, and that money is going right out the window. They need more of it. But there's actually a way the city could fix its entire transportation problem overnight if it wanted to. Now, I'm against this idea of universal public transit for obvious reasons because it's a big scam, but I'm not against the idea of mass transit. In fact, over by the Intrepid Museum, where this massive homeless encampment is growing, you have the solution to New York City's transportation problem, because this is where they keep all of the buses that go into the bus terminal and bring people across the country. Well, when they're not in use, they park them on the streets over here. So you have an army of buses that aren't being used for anything. And if people are waiting for the bus and the next bus is a half an hour away, well, you could drastically speed that up if you would let some of these buses also be driven in the bus lanes. Like, what if a coach bus or a Greyhound bus could be driven and operated on the public bus lanes and be used to pick people up? What if they could sell tickets and seats on their own buses? That would work. That would speed up transportation, and the buses already exist. But you see, the problem with that is then you would have private industry competing with the communists. And we all know who's going to win that battle. Everyone's going to love the private buses. No one's going to be getting on the city's electric buses if they even show up. This would be a massive disaster. It would fix the problem, but then the communists wouldn't have their grand accomplishment. They wouldn't be able to say that we delivered for New York and we need more of your money so we can keep delivering for New York. You see, we have common sense solutions that are at our fingertips in New York, but nobody wants them because it would deliver a win to the groups that are supposed to be the problem. Right now you got somebody making a profit on mass transit.
He is not picking up. I didn't get no hotel. Because I'm stranded.
Find your way back to that. Let's do that.
Whatever. So pretty much what he did is he tried to go downstairs and get me removed out of the room and removed because I wouldn't give him no kitty cat.
People keep calling getting flown out a flex until you're standing in the airport with nowhere to sleep, no ride, and a phone that suddenly goes straight to voicemail. Every story in this video starts with confidence. By the end, you'll see why some people free trips end up being the most expensive decision that they made.
So I am devastated. So I met this dude online. And I flew out here to Miami. He is not picking up. The phone is going straight to voicemail. I've been calling him since I got to this airport. I didn't get no rental. I didn't get no hotel. Like, he books all of that stuff. So now I'm just sitting here. And his phone is going straight to voicemail. I'm so irritated. Like, I know I did not just get played.
And the crazy part, this isn't even the worst fly-out story in the video. Some of these situations go from embarrassing to straight up survival mode.
Bruh, I keep seeing these he flew me out and left me stranded stories. First of all, why are y'all traveling like it's a field trip with no permission slip? You in a whole different state. No money, no backup plan, just vibes and lip gloss. Come on now.
Some people spend more time picking airport outfits than figuring out how they're going to get home if everything falls apart. Priorities must be completely backwards.
Let's be real. 9 times out of 10, people that fly you out are not flying you out to play Uno and watch Netflix documentaries. Let's be real. They got expectations. Now hold on, before y'all start typing, you don't owe nobody anything.
Here's where some people start arguing in the comments. One side says, nobody owes you anything. The other side says, nobody buys a plane ticket for absolutely no reason. That's where the conversation always blows up.
You don't owe them an explanation. You don't even owe them your body, period. But you gotta use common sense too. Why are you getting on a plane depending on somebody you barely even know? Shit, that's like jumping out of a plane mid-air and asking who got the parachute. Have your own money, book your own room, and if you can, have a way back home. Because the moment you say nah, and they start acting funny, now you stuck in the city eating ice cubes for dinner. Texting your friends saying, y'all pray for me. I'm just saying, protect yourself. Don't go nowhere just off of straight vibes and a he seemed nice energy. Move smart, not desperate. Because getting flown out ain't the flex. It's getting back home safely is. Just saying.
Whether you agree with him or not, one thing keeps showing up in every story. The person with the return ticket usually has the leverage.
All right, y'all. Rule 1 for getting flued out. Always, and I mean always, get them to book you a round trip. Don't let them hit you with the, we're going to take it day by day and figure it out when you get here on what day you're going to go back. No. And actually have them send you the money, because as soon as they have that confirmation code, the trip code, you know what I'm talking about? They can cancel your trip, update your trip, do anything. No.
Now we're getting travel tips like it's survival handbooks. The fact even people have learned these rules tells you how often this goes left.
Definition than they will over the actual damage. Man, that's the whole energy right now. They argue the word illegal is mean, while the consequences of ignoring it keep stacking up on regular people. Just watch this first one up close.
Where do you find that crossing the border is just a civil offense?
The law.
Which law?
I don't know the statute number. I just know that it's a law.
Do you know what code it's under?
No, I don't memorize that stuff.
Well, I have it here for you. It's Title 8, U.S. Code 1325. It is a criminal offense for illegal entry. It's a criminal federal misdemeanor offense. You get fines and jail time if they want to prosecute you criminally, but they actually just do it civilly and just deport people and send them back home, which is very gracious.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I mean, until now, that's not what I've heard.
How did you not know that? I mean, before you come out here and set this stuff up, you were just willing to tell me that it wasn't a crime, but it absolutely is.
Yeah, but all you're doing is showing me a paper here.
If you want to look it up, you absolutely can. Where do you?
Yeah, but they really bank on us not doing that. I can't even name the statute. Not one of them. And if I'm being honest, with our research, I wouldn't be able to name a lot of them off of the top of the head myself. But 8 USC 1325 has been in the books for decades. Improper entry is a federal misdemeanor. Second time is a felony. Yet the people screaming the loudest act like the law itself is the real problem. That's not compassion. That's just literally refusing to look at the paper in front of them. Now, take that same energy and walk into a workplace.
When is ICE gonna come to Amazon? Why in the hell is Amazon allowed to hire all these migrants? I mean, literally it's probably 80% migrants, if not more. It's ridiculous. They tell the American people that they're not hiring, and then we literally sit here and watch these migrants come in, 10 per week, new hires walking through with new jobs. But we go up and say, hey, I got a brother, I got a cousin or whoever, a friend, whatever, that needs a job. Are we hiring? And they say, no, not at the moment, we're not hiring. You know, they can fill an application out anyways, just in case we do hire, blah, blah, blah. And then that same day, you'll be working at your station, and you'll see them walking through 10 people. And literally, out of that 10 people, every one of them are migrants. Every single one of them. How does that work? How do they get away with that? How is that not discrimination? By them telling me that they won't hire, they're not hiring right now. And then every week we see these people coming through. And not to mention, I sit there and listen to them. They tell me about how they got their brother hired, or they got their mom hired, or their cousin hired with no problem. But me, I'm being told we're not hiring. But I guess we're only hiring migrants. How is that going on still? ICE, we need you at Amazon. I'm begging you. Please show up. Get these fucking people out of here. I want to get my son a job too.
So obviously this guy is talking about illegals. He's specifically saying that ICE needs to come into the warehouse because they are flooded and only hiring illegal workers. But there is another issue with Amazon that people need to be aware of too, is that Amazon across its entities are one of the largest sponsors of H-1B visas in the United States. So they are constantly filing and bringing over foreign workers. So these are more for like specialty roles like tech and things like that, not really for warehouse workers like he's referring to. But this is a whole nother issue because they are filing as many as 15 to 30,000 of these applications every single year. Again, this is per year. So over time, this adds up to a lot of foreigners being imported to take American jobs. So how many do they actually get approved is about 10,000 approvals on strong years, which I'm assuming is pretty much most of the years. So 10,000 a year, that's 10,000 jobs being taken away, but they don't stop there. They also sponsored green cards for permanent residency for workers. So this is just another issue, not just with Amazon, but with so many companies, and all of it needs to end. We need to stop bringing over foreign workers.
Listen to what he's saying. Listen to what he's actually saying. They tell American workers, we're not hiring. Then the same week, 10 new faces walk in, and none of them are from here. That's not a labor shortage, right? It seems more like a preference. Tell me if I could be tripping. Let me know. Does it sound like that to you? And the people who lecture you about, equity, somehow never show up to defend a guy who can't get his own son hired at the warehouse down the street. But jobs are only one layer.
And I just want to make one other point. Immigrants are less likely to murder people than other American citizens. If you're worried about being murdered, and I don't want to be murdered, but you're much more likely to be murdered by, an ex-spouse that's mad at you, somebody who you fired from a job. You're much more likely to be killed by another American than you are an immigrant. Just saying.
That's not the point. The point is, if you let in illegal immigrants, meaning you let in people who are not supposed to be here because you don't want to enforce the border, and then you don't have ICE remove those individuals, if some of those individuals go on to murder people, those murders are completely avoidable if we actually enforce our laws. It's much harder to do that with American citizens because Americans are allowed to be here, obviously. But if we enforced our laws, the murderers who are illegal aliens would have never murdered those people to begin with. So that murder problem with those illegal aliens would be completely avoidable, or is avoidable, if we actually enforce our immigration laws. That's the point. The point isn't, well, who's more likely? Obviously Americans. There's a lot more Americans in this country than illegal aliens. The bigger point is illegal aliens murdering people is completely avoidable if we enforce our immigration laws. That's a talking point for stupid people. You're more likely to be killed by an American than an illegal alien. Okay, cool. Again, we get that. Again, the real point is the illegal alien should have never been able to murder anyone here because they never should have been here. So we have people getting murdered when it's completely unnecessary because we have parts of our country who do not want to enforce our immigration laws. And then when someone is murdered or killed at the hands of an illegal alien, Democrats won't say anything about it. They just don't even acknowledge it, act like it doesn't exist, because it's not conducive to their narrative and their goals. They want to use illegal aliens in order to benefit them politically at the federal level when it comes to power and apportionment. When I say power and apportionment, I essentially mean you use the census to determine the number of representatives in the House that each state gets. If you add 2 senators to that number of representatives in the House each state gets. That gets you the electoral votes that each state gets. Democrats want to manipulate that system with illegal aliens to benefit them when it comes to electoral votes in the House of Representatives. Remember, the census only counts bodies, or it counts total bodies. It doesn't only count citizens. It's funny because the Democratic Party has a history of wanting, it's just interesting because they wanted to use slaves to count towards representation in their states back in the 1800s. And then on top of that, now they want to use illegal aliens to count towards their representation at the federal level. Interesting, is it not? But anyway, that's all I've got for now, guys. Don't forget, I have an email newsletter where I cover topics like this in more detail. The link to that's in my profile. Click that link, drop your email in, hit subscribe, and you'll be good to go. I hope to see you there.
This is the part they love to hide behind statistics. Immigrants are less likely to murder. Cool. You know, the point isn't percentage. The point is 0 people who are not supposed to be here should be in a position to murder anyone. Using a lower rate as permission is how you end up explaining away the next funeral. Meanwhile, the people that are actually trying to fix it keep running into the same wall.
Feels like the one thing that we could possibly carry out beyond just closing down the border, which the president has done and you have done and has been fantastic, is the promise of these mass deportations. Now, there's been rumblings that perhaps now it's just targeted. Now it's just we're going to go after the worst of the worst, which I want them out too, but that perhaps this goal of mass deportations is not the mission anymore under this secretary. So I want to give you a chance to explain to the American people where we are in that process.
Mass deportations is still the plan, but prioritization of the worst of the criminals doesn't mean we forget about everybody else. And let me give you a clear example where we're at. So 60% of everybody we're arresting right now is a criminal, 40% are non-criminals. So we are arresting a lot of non-criminals. I think 60% criminal, 40% non-criminal is actually better than 40% non-criminal, 60% non-criminal. I just think it's better. But the numbers are what they are now. A few months ago, people were screaming and yelling. The numbers are down. Well, the government was shut down. DHS was shut down. But what happens when we got the reconciliation bill passed? Right now, we're up 40% over last year. So everybody says last year was a good year. It's a historic year last year. We arrested, deported more people than any present history last year. Right now, we're on a track of beating that by 40% right now. In June, ICE arrested more illegal aliens in June than any month in history. I looked at the number this morning. July looks like it's tracking to beat June. So look, we're hitting on all cylinders right now. We're doing a great job. But when it comes to removals, we had record number of removals last year. But here's what people don't understand. They say, we want more, we want more, we want more. It's not a simple case of arresting, deporting. There's a process to find them, and there's a whole process between the arrests and deportations. What people don't understand, despite all the pushback we're getting right now, there's over 100 nationwide injunctions against us for arrest, detention, removals. Over 100. That's more nationwide injunctions than every president in the history of this nation combined. So it's an all-out assault on the Trump administration. So we got over 100 nationwide injunctions. The government was shut down for months. We have a record number of habeas cases filed by radical judges, where I was told yesterday the number is around 65,000 people that we arrested that we had to release because of habeas cases out of radical judges. So there's a lot we're fighting against, but more than any other president. But even though we have all those struggles with the courts and the open borders agenda, we're still breaking records.
And we're
Tom Homan just said it plain. June was the highest arrest month in ICE history. July is already beating it. Deportations up 40%, and still 65,000 people they already called had to be released because activist judges kept writing the same order. You can have record enforcement and still lose ground when the courts treat every removal like a personal insult. Then every once in a while, you get a clean example of what happens when a system actually follows through.
Appearing to show Tracy slapping a girl at the Jersey Shore during 4th of July weekend. After the slap, you can see Tracy appears to just walk away without even stopping. Fox News Digital obtained court documents explaining that the victim was with a group of friends wearing sweatpants with the words Trump and ICE when Tracy confronted and later hit the teen in the face and body. The court documents say that Tracy refused to identify herself after the violent encounter, but investigators later tracked her down through social media and passport information that she gave when entering the country from Canada back in 2024. So Tracy's attorney has not responded to our repeated requests for comment, but her husband told a local outlet that it was Tracy who was shoved and hit. He told the New Jersey Monitor, quote, "My wife has never been in trouble in her entire life. She's never had any kind of situation like this. This one little situation that was really a nothing burger when it happened has been blown so out of control by conservatives online that it has caused my wife to be put in a detention center." So a GoFundMe for Tracy was taken down, but another online fundraiser for her legal defense has now popped up on a different site. Aisha, I should point out, she's now facing several charges in connection to this alleged assault. Back to
Okay,
you.
CB, thank you very much.
Okay, so Canadian woman overstays her visa, puts her hands on a teenager wearing Trump and ICE gear, and within days she's in custody facing removal. No endless debate. No fundraiser survives that. Just consequence. Funny how fast process works when the victim is the one they usually ignore. Excuse me. And this is what it looks like on the street when people decide that the law itself is just the enemy.
We love ICE. We love ICE. We love ICE. Get back in your fucking car. Fuck you. Get the fuck out. What the fuck? Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here! Racist piece of shit! Hey! Racist deserve worse! Racist deserve worse! Racist deserve worse! Racist deserve worse! You love us!
Yeah. He's saying we love ICE. Got the family saying we love ICE. Next thing you know, the car is surrounded. Maces in the air and the tires are out. That's not protest, man. That's a warning shot aimed at everybody who still thinks border and enforcement are normal. And the silence afterward tells you exactly who's allowed to be angry in public. Now, here's what ties all this together, if you're willing to sit with it. We've reached a point where the basic categories that hold a country together are treated like hate speech. Citizens, like citizens versus non-citizens, legal versus illegal, protected versus preferred, right? In that direction. Once those lines get blurred on purpose, everything else becomes negotiation. Jobs become whoever shows up. Safety becomes a statistic you can, massage. Violence against people who support the law becomes understandable frustration. And the people who lose first are the ones who never ask for special treatment. They just expected the rules to still mean something. That is not sustainable. A nation that cannot tell the difference between the people it is responsible for and the people who simply arrived will eventually stop being able to protect either one.
Mars having a really bad week, month, year, you name it. I mean, she didn't want Donald Trump coming into office for a variety of reasons, but this is especially tricky for her because you see, we just apprehended one of the lead Somalia fraudsters over in Somalia. He is, as we speak, right here, right now, back in the United States of America. And this is not good news for Ilhan Omar because it turns out he's got a whole bunch of emails that we want to basically show everyone. And those emails reportedly have Ilhan Omar and Ilhan Omar's office all over them. I'm talking about this guy. Oh gosh, Abdulkarim Abdullahi Idlay. We'll go with Idlay as his last name. Here's the guy that was just charged, okay? Well, he's been charged. He's just been extradited from Somalia back to the United States of America on a variety of things: conspiracy to commit wire fraud, conspiracy to commit federal programs bribery, you name it, money laundering. He's bad news, but we got him now, and the expectation is the paper trail may lead us to a few other people, possibly including one Ms. Ilhan Omar, representative from Minnesota. The ringleader, I should say, the congressperson that introduced the legislation for these various ringleaders who defrauded American taxpayers out of $250 million.
And Omar is under scrutiny yet again over her alleged connections to Somali-based individuals arrested for fraud. The most recent individual was found in Somalia after being on the run for 4 years. He was allegedly a central figure in the Feeding Our Future fraud scheme that stole close to $300 million in COVID-19 pandemic relief programs. The suspect allegedly exchanged emails with convicted ringleader Amy Bach that had the subject line Ilhan's office. Congresswoman Omar continues to deny all wrongdoing.
Call him that. Opens his mouth and the temperature in the room changes. Then a man in a cowboy hat walks into the same conversation with a federal complaint. What happens next is not a debate. It's a series of receipts that most people have never been allowed to hold in the same hand.
That remotely reveres Al Sharpton, there's something wrong with you, dreadfully. There's something wrong with you. That is one of the most vile human beings that have ever set his ass in a chair. That is one of the most vile human beings that ever doodled between two heels. Al Sharpton. It shows you how sick black people are. Now, they don't know it. They have no idea. Hell, they walk around with their pants down, showing their butthole. They don't work. They don't want to go to work. They don't see work as an ethic. They don't believe in providing. They have no concept of bringing home the paycheck and providing for their families or building in the neighborhoods. That black man, all he wants you to do is give him. That's all he wants. He doesn't understand white folks' work ethic. He gets angry with them. He gets angry with the man. The man told him to pick up that box, take it over there. He gets angry. He doesn't understand the work ethic. He's a sick-ass person, that black man. He's sick. He don't want to work. Anybody. He don't want to work.
Now, that's obviously not a motivational speech. That's a man who decided the soft version of the truth was an insult to the people sitting in front of him, apparently. Notice how quiet the usual crowd gets when the voice delivering the message, it doesn't, need that permission. Now, I want you to watch what happens when that same energy walks into a courtroom. I said it right. It walks into a courtroom instead of a pulpit.
Well, everybody's official. I filed a formal complaint in the county against, in the federal courthouse against Al Sharpton and Crump for inciting violence in my town that would lead to harm to just about anybody. And specifically, our judge, her family, those kids, their families, stuff like that. So I'm going to keep on filing stuff too, because that's what I can do, because I am an American, a real one, and I live here. I can do that. See you in court, Crump.
So a regular citizen just filed paperwork on Al Sharpton and Benjamin Crump for allegedly lighting racial fires in his own town for profit. This is pretty common, not a tweet, not a podcast rant, but actual paperwork, he claims. I haven't seen it yet, but according to the video, I'm going to update y'all if I do come across it. Now, the people who spent decades calling every disagreement violent, suddenly, they over there on mute when the accusation starts pointing in their directions. But speaking of turning every gap into proof of evil.
If you really want to see the racism white people say doesn't exist, look at the wealth gap. That's all you need to know. I guarantee you not a single black person owned any of these boats, right? So If you want, let's say you want to be able to afford something like this, where would you do that? All these environments that you would need to go to earn something like this, it's all controlled by white people. You know what I'm saying? Especially jobs that are paying over $100,000, $200,000 a year. It's all controlled by white people. If you don't move a certain way that white people want you to move, you'll never get that money. So you'll never be able to afford something like this. This is why if you somehow figure out a way to finagle and outwit the system and you manage to get money to buy something like this and white people see you in these areas, they're going to start questioning, what are you doing here? That's why they be asking you, what are you doing in my neighborhood? Because they know you're not supposed to have the money. They're not supposed to give it to you. If you really want to see the racism.
Now, this man looked at all those boats and decided the only possible explanation was racism. Not credit scores, not risk tolerance, not the fact that the building wealth usually takes more than, one generation. Just skin. That's not analysis, man. That's a participation trophy for giving up. And if you think that logic only lives on one side of the camera.
Do you think all white people are oppressors?
I'm gonna go with yes.
I am actively feeling oppressed by you, by the way.
Wow.
In what way do you think you're actively oppressing me?
All white people contribute to racism in some way, whether they realize it or not.
In what ways are you actively contributing to racism?
By being a white girl from New York City.
By doing what?
By living here.
So if you left, you wouldn't be contributing to racism at all?
I think I should go back to Edinburgh. I think I should go back to Scotland, where my ancestors are from.
My ancestors are from Western Africa. Should I go there as well?
If you want to.
So who should stay in America?
Native Americans.
That's it?
I'm pretty radical. I think we should give all the land back. I don't know how.
Are you actively living on stolen land?
Yes.
So if I were to break into your house, you'd let me stay because it's stolen anyways, right?
Maybe.
Let's say you didn't know me.
Okay, you got me. If someone came into my house, I'd probably call the police.
This is actually pretty fun.
She just said every white person. Oh, my fault, y'all. She just said every white person is an oppressor by simply existing. That the land should be returned and that people who refuse should be removed. This is what happens when you teach kids that history is a crime. Well, a crime scene, let's say that. And they are either the body or the killer. No individual, no present, just inherited guilt with no statute of limitations. Now, here's the part that never really makes the approved timeline.
They want to be in bondage, and that scares the daylights out of me. History has a way of destroying the stories that we were told. Back in 1921, a black man named Anthony Johnson arrived in the English colony in Virginia. Like many Africans of that era, he came under forced circumstances. He was an indentured servant. And after years of labor, he gained his freedom. He didn't stay poor. He worked hard. He acquired land, actually hundreds of acres, 640 of them to begin with. He became one of the wealthiest black landowners in colonial Virginia. He owned livestock, he built a successful tobacco plantation, and he accumulated servants and laborers. One of those men was by the name of John Cansor. Cansor eventually claimed that his term of service had expired. A white neighbor by the name of Robert Parker believed Cansor had served long enough and encouraged him to leave Johnson's plantation, which he did. He did so quickly. But Johnson wasn't having any of that. He sued the white farmer, Parker, and the case made its way all the way up to the Virginia courtroom in 1655. And in the first time in American history, the judges ruled in Anthony Johnson's favor. John Cansor was ordered returned back to Johnson for the remainder of his natural lifespan. That ruling became an early precedent recognizing lifetime servitude in colonial Virginia and marked an important step in the legal development of slavery in English America as we knew it. Now let that sink in. One of the most uncomfortable stories in American history isn't black and white. It's about human nature. And scripture warned us long ago, long before America existed, that the heart of man was deceitfully wicked. Sin doesn't care about your skin color. Greed doesn't care about your ancestry. The desire to control another human isn't owned by one race. It belongs to fallen humanity. Like the book Uncle Tom's Cabin that depicts a man that did all he could to save the slaves that were on the plantation. It took two black men, one by the name of Sambo, the other by the name of Quimbo, to find Uncle Tom, the actual hero of the story, and beat him to death. And that's curious because the Democrats today will call me the Uncle Tom. But I'm trying to do the same thing. I'm trying to deliver people from the iron shackles that they just can't see. You see, because I see different chains. I see the chains of addiction stealing our sons and daughters. I see the chains of fatherlessness becoming normalized in my city. I mean, it's what, upwards of 78% are born out of wedlock, where it's just normal? I see neighborhoods trapped in generational dependency. I see dependency as the new plantation. I see children growing up believing someone else is responsible for building their future. I see young men destroying one another over blocks that they don't even own. I see babies entering the world surrounded by instability. I see envy celebrated while discipline is mocked. Hard work is mocked. Getting degrees is mocked. And in my view, many of these policies promoted by the Democrat leadership in the communities where I've lived have expanded dependency instead of independence. Dependency. That's the new plantation. I believe the outcomes have even weakened families. I believe they've caused struggling schools, persistent poverty, and fewer opportunities. Because if you don't perceive there's opportunities, then there are no opportunities. That's my conclusion after watching these patterns for 5 decades. And those chains aren't made of iron. They're chains of the black mind. It's not even the black mind anymore, folks. It's everyone that votes Democrat. Everyone. Everyone that votes for Democrat socialism. These are chains of addiction, chains of dependency, chains of hopelessness. Chains that convince a free people that they cannot stand on their own. And I'm done accepting those chains as normal. Yeah, that's right. I believe God created us for freedom, responsibility, family, faith, and purpose. That's the future that I'm fighting for. I'm not trying to rewrite history. I'm trying to make sure that my grandchildren don't have to repeat it. You see, the John Cansors have the Anthony Parkers rule over them. Like the black person has the Democrat rule over them, who go to court to make sure that that black person stays on the plantation, doesn't move, deploys their liberal thugs to descend upon that person, to keep them in bondage. And what really bothers me the most is that there are people foolish enough to fight for the Sambos and the Quimbos and the Anthony Parkers of the world. They will fight tooth and nail. They will fight you.
1655, Virginia. A free black man named Anthony Johnson goes to court and wins the right to keep another black man as his.
Hello?
What's up? How you doing?
All right.
I got a job in Cumming, Georgia. Cumming, Georgia. 30040. This today between 1 and 4 is credit, and it's a nice machine. It's Scotsman, not making ice.
That would have to be moved to tomorrow between 10 and 12. I'm booked up in Augusta, Georgia. I'm not even in Atlanta.
Douglas says tomorrow 10 to 12. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Victim and every white person to be pure villain. The chapter has to disappear. It didn't. And while we're sitting there trying to correct the record,
white people freed black people from slavery, but that narrative is never pushed. It's always white people owned slaves. Never how Africans sold other black people into slavery and white people freed them. You see, that would be going against the narrative. And we all know they don't like when you go against the narrative. They don't like when you tell the truth. White people aren't the enemies. Love don't go away. White people freed.
Okay. excuse me. You know, this last one, it really comes full circle, right? Well, no, this ain't even the last one, actually. I believe I got another clip after this. Let me verify. Yeah, I do. He said the quiet historical fact out loud here, right? The political and military force that ended legal slavery in the West was driven by white abolitionists and white armies at enormous cost. You can acknowledge that without erasing black resistance, and you can also refuse to pretend the story only has one chapter. Now, this is the last one that's going to bring it full circle.
I have said it once, and I will say it again, and I will say it every single time. You put a black person in absolutely any field and absolutely anything, they will dominate. Every time. Black people are just superior. It is also my theory as to why we are not as advanced in society as we should be by now. Because we've done nothing but suppress and diminish the work and the credit that black people have in society. And there's a lot of amazing things that we have because of their creations, because of their ideas, their intelligence, their creativity. And you can't say the same for white people. So I just can't wait to see more black leaders.
Has leaked Diddy's HIV records, and it's been 10 inmates that has come up infected in the penitentiary, y'all. And make sure y'all stay tuned in, because I got a video, man, to go over this whole thing. You know, like I've left videos before about the whole Diddy situation and the type of activity that was going on. And as you know, it goes without saying, there was never any mention of prophylactics. But the thing is, you know, when you get into that penitentiary, that penal system, one of the first things that they're going to do is give you a test for STDs, right? Now, once you get tested for these STDs, they're going to know where to put you. Some places they segregate you, but the inmates know and the doctors know. Can you dig what I'm saying? So they know who they're playing with. So at the end of the day, now that Diddy is locked up and they have access to a whole load of narcotics, and you know the things that Diddy liked the most, a whole lot of that BBC is right there in the penitentiary. Because hey man, y'all saw on the leaked freak-off tape, Diddy freak-off tape, it seemed like he was more focused on Sly Diggler, man, playing with his eggplant than 50 Cent, than Daphne, you know what I'm saying? So y'all tell me how you feel about that. He looked more interested in Sly Diggler than he did Daphne Joy. Let's put it like that. So where Diddy's at right now, man, he's surrounded by it. So the thing is, once you add that alcohol, you know, probably a little bit of narcotic, because he was doing crystal methamphetamine, and I'm here to tell you, man, that type of substance is linked to rainbow activity. Can you dig what I'm saying? But again, I tell you guys, put condoms in the comments. To put condoms in the comments if you feel like when you watch these videos from these people who've been to prison or people that are in prison currently, because they got channels too, you hear about everything sneaking into the jail, cell phones, narcotics, weapons, but you don't never hear them talk about sneaking a condom up in the penitentiary. Can I get an amen on that? So yeah, guys, we're gonna get into this video and we're gonna see, hey man, what's really been going on in that penitentiary, man. I got a couple of video clips, but let's get it done.
Big player in the game in terms of, you know, his power, and he's that guy even in jail. Dudes are getting jealous at other dudes based on who made his bed. And I'm like, yo, so that's a real thing? People are actually making his bed? Yeah. Dudes are getting jealous at other dudes based on who made his bed. And I'm like, yo, so that's a real thing? Say, listen, Diddy's such a big player in the game in terms of, you know, his power, and he's that guy even in jail. Dudes are getting jealous at other dudes based on who made his bed. And I'm like, yo, so that's a real thing? People are actually making his bed? Yeah.
Craig Mack was the one that jumped Bad Boy off. And you know, I so bad that Craig Mack, who died from That man, he got brainwashed so bad from Diddy and got done so wrong. The man went to South Carolina and joined a cult with his family until he died a few years ago.
Looks like Diddy's problems just got a whole lot uglier behind bars. Word is, a jail doctor exposed the results of a medical test that was never supposed to see daylight. And now folks are saying several inmates may have been infected after getting too close to the bad boy mogul. If this is even halfway true, the situation inside that prison might be messier than anyone imagined. The moment the doors closed behind Sean Diddy Combs at FCI Fort Dix in New Jersey, the assumption was simple. The party lifestyle was finally over. Billionaire mogul, private jets, luxury mansions, all replaced with concrete walls and prison schedules. But word coming out of that facility suggests Diddy's lifestyle didn't slow down. It just moved somewhere darker. According to reports, Diddy is facing a bigger problem, deteriorating health. And the situation has allegedly gotten so serious that medical staff inside the facility have been quietly monitoring an outbreak tied to his circle. And if
now, they're not lying when they tell you. See what I'm saying? See, you guys are going to talk about, oh, Coach One Stack, oh, it's HIPAA laws, oh, Coach, that you ain't supposed to tell nobody none of that. Hey, guys, when you go to prison, you need to understand this. You give up all your rights. You're no different than cattle. You know, people got a right to know what's wrong with their cattle before they buy it. You give up all those rights. You give up your Fourth Amendment, your HIPAA, your all of that. You know, and the inmates know they're in pill call. It's a lot of these celebrities out here suffering, guys. And guys, I want y'all to put in the comments the celebrities who you have seen suffering, that are showing signs of all this weight loss and showing signs that they might have something that they can't get rid of since Diddy has been locked up. Hey, let me help y'all out a little bit. Freak Mill. We got Freaky Montana. We got Stevie Gay. Nobody's heard from him. We got TD Cupcakes. We got TD Cupcakes. We got Reggae. Man, come on, man. We got your boy, man. The dude just passed away. Damn it, I forgot his name. You know, his sugar daddy that passed away. It's so mean. Even Rick Ross was losing weight at a particular time. So I want y'all to put in the comments of the celebrities that you see suffering the most from more than likely this disease because they can't get that scientific care. They can't get that. See, it's a lot of FDA not approved treatments for certain diseases, but when you was plugged up with Diddy, you was pretty much getting your package, so to speak. And now people can't get that. And they have a whole outbreak in the penitentiary, guys. And like I said, ain't no prophylactics.
We're keeping it real. Diddy ain't looking greater late, but thinner and grayer, like he's body fighting something. An STD, allegedly.